Welcome to the debate. I hate to break it to you, but those assets you're frantically guarding, they aren't wealth. They're essentially just pending liabilities.
Wait, hold on. Are you insane? We're scraping by just to save every single penny for the future. How can savings possibly be a liability?
Because you are fundamentally misinterpreting the operating system of the planet you live on. We need to talk about the Pacific Void. You look at the Pacific Ocean and see a map with, a lot of empty blue space. I look at it and I see a functioning garbage disposal unit. The source material is explicit on this. The Pacific has no continents not because of some bad luck, but because of physics. Specifically, the density difference between basalt and granite.
Okay, let's ground this for a second. You're referencing the geological composition of the crust. I get that. But what on earth does rock density have to do with my bank account?
Everything. The ocean floor is made of basalt. It's heavy, it's dense, and it sinks. The continents are made of granite, which is lighter, and, well, it floats. This is the key insight. The Earth is a system of flow, not storage. That heavy basalt floor is constantly sinking back into the mantle to be recycled. You are trying to hoard fixed value on a conveyor belt that is literally designed to dump everything into an incinerator.
I understand the geology, I do. But you're treating human civilization like some kind of corporate restructuring plan. I'm arguing for the reality of, paying rent and maintaining a society. When we buy a house or put money in a pension fund, we are not analyzing basalt density. We're looking for stability. Real estate is called real for a reason. It is the bedrock of survival. Telling people that their security is a liability because of a tectonic shift that takes 100 million years is not just arrogant. It ignores the immediate necessity of our survival.
That is a slow-motion crash. The Earth treats its crust like a recycling plant. It melts down the old to make the new. Building an entire economic model based on permanent ownership on top of a geological rock crusher is a critical system error.
It's not a system error, it's civilization. We build, we establish, we pass things down. That legacy is how we progress. If we accepted your flow model, we'd never build anything lasting. We'd just be nomads.
And look at the cost of ignoring the physics. Look at Zealandia. The source material highlights it perfectly. A massive continent, 5 million square kilometers, and 95% of it is now underwater.
Right, the submerged landmass near New Zealand. But that's a geological anomaly, a freak event.
It is not an anomaly. It is a correction. You see that as a tragedy or a natural disaster. I see it as the Earth's physics deleting an out-of-spec design. Zealandia was too thin, too stretched out. It couldn't maintain buoyancy against the system's requirements. It lacked the necessary density balance, so it was uninstalled.
Uninstalled, people lived on land masses like that. You're talking about mass displacement as if it's some kind of software update. This is where your logic just completely disconnects from humanity. You rationalize destruction. When a volcano blows or an earthquake hits, that destroys economies. It ruins lives. You can't just wave that away as system maintenance.
But that is exactly what it is. You view earthquakes and volcanoes as enemies. In reality, they are thermostats and pressure valves. They are the release mechanisms that keep the entire planetary engine from overheating and exploding. The system requires metabolism, destruction, and regeneration.
And how does that apply to economics? How does a volcano help me pay for my groceries?
It explains why your economy is failing. The problem isn't the volcano. The problem is modern capitalism acting like a blood clot. We try to freeze the flow, hoard the resources, and stop the circulation. We operate a linear economy, take, make, waste, on a planet that is fundamentally circular. That is cancer behavior. The planet is trying to metabolize, you are trying to induce a stroke.
So what is the alternative then? To possess nothing? To just drift? If saving is a blood clot, then how does anyone survive old age? You're asking us to accept that we should just be mulched by the planet because flow is more important than our lives.
I am telling you that scientists have all the dots. We know about subduction. We know resources are finite. We know the crust is recycling itself. But society refuses to connect those dots into a line because the shape of that line is terrifying to you. It proves that an economic model based on infinite accumulation is physically impossible to sustain. You're trying to negotiate with a furnace.
Then give us a way out. You can't just tear down the entire concept of security without offering a replacement. If we can't save, if we can't build, what is the future? What happens to my pension?
There is no comfort patch coming. You are trying to build a house inside a rock crusher and complaining about the noise.
But what about my pension? What about...
Discussion over. Isolating the bug.